Welcome back, everybody. It is another edition of Let's Unbox a Guitar. Today is a brand new guitar. The story behind this guitar is this is the IYV IJGAP 300. Last week I got a 200. This week I have a 300. Why, you may ask? Well, these guitars have been out of stock for quite some time. This guitar was ordered on September the 26th, 2024. So now we're talking 5 months and 2 days. Meanwhile, the IJGAP 200, which was originally ordered in August of 2023, and then Amazon canceled it, and I ordered it, and it got canceled and ordered. So I had 2 of these in the pipeline. I didn't know which, if any, were ever going to make it to me. And lo and behold, here's this one. So the temperature outside quite mild for a final day of February. It could be bone-chilling cold, but today I believe we actually got up to 58 degrees, so there's no need to acclimate this guitar. We can go straight for it. Now, my understanding is that the big difference on this guitar, there may be some difference in the wood. I don't think so. I think the main difference is, supposedly, we may have changed it, but this has a belly cut contour that the 200 doesn't have. Obviously it's a different finish color, which they could have chosen. I actually like the sunburst of the 200. I'm not really digging this brown, I guess they call it just a brown stain. Well, they eliminated the, I guess they got too many complaints. They eliminated the faux binding. So that's an interesting difference. Supposedly the neck is a 3-piece neck, but honestly this looks like a 2-piece neck, and it looks pretty cheesy, to tell you the truth, compared to its counterpart, the 200. So I'm not really sure. This definitely is not as advertised. You know, it's really up to them to stay on top of what it is they're selling, and if they make cosmetic changes to the guitar, then I think it's important for them to post it as such, so that the buyer can know what they're purchasing. And seems like a fair deal to me. And this neck just feels really, that's like really crappy. I'm going to run a little sandpaper over it, but yeah, I'm not impressed. Yeah, keep in mind this guitar was only $10 more. It does have the belly cut, but the neck, compared to its counterpart, just feels really, really crappy. Like they just rushed this thing out and didn't bother to do any QC, which is really a problem. Because again, IYV guitars have a lot of support. A lot of people like them, and they're out there buying them. And this is just really, I gotta say, well, I guess it is a 3-piece. It just looks cheesy though. Cheesy and sleazy. Okay, well, I'm going to go plug it in and play it. But yeah, I'm not overly impressed with the fit and the finish thus far. Oh yes, and this also has the sound cone. Whatever that does or doesn't do, I have no idea. No idea. So yeah, I'm going to go plug it in, see what it does or doesn't do. And we will be back. But behold the beauty of the IJGAP 300, which again, it just Yeah, I don't know what to think. Maybe it'll play fantastic and I'll have a whole different opinion of it. We'll be back in a little bit and share those opinions with you. Ooh, welcome back everybody. It is now a whopping 6 minutes later. I just played this guitar and I will say I am not impressed. I mean, compared to its sister, which supposedly has less features, you know, again, the belly cut, the cones, the sound cone, it feels like a much more refined guitar. Yeah, the 300 just feels really cheesy and cheap. And it feels like it just got rushed out of the factory. Little details like this, which to some people would say, who cares, but the matching of the wood, it just looks cheap and cheesy. That's all I can say. It doesn't feel much better than that. So it was quick. I'm going to contact them. If they want to give it to me, I'll keep it. Otherwise, it's going to go back. And if they don't want to send me a replacement, I'm more than happy with the 200. Don't go. Sorry, when the phone rings, it doesn't ring very often. I try to pick it up. So anyways, quick review. Again, I'm just, I don't know what to say. If I didn't have the 200 to compare it to, I mean, again, it's really a small feature, but again, this was the $10 more guitar. The color, the lack of the faux binding, I guess I could paint that on myself. It's just more of truth in advertising. If you're going to take that off, put some new pictures up. They haven't put new pictures of this thing up for 2 years. Obviously, one of the improved features is you get a separate battery door now. You don't have to take this off to access the battery, which is nice. But they don't show that. They don't show it for the 200 either. So, yeah, and I have no doubt that IYV does not sit around and watch my videos, nor should they. But if they were, I would say, look, the devil's in the details, guys, and you have a loyal following of people. And there's no doubt that your guitars are very, very well priced. They're a bargain. They're a deal. But it's the little details. I would pay a little more if someone would have taken the time to sand the neck instead of sending me basically a raw piece of wood. That's just not acceptable. So anyways, I'm going to box this thing back up and send it back, see what Amazon wants to do. They've been really strange lately. They're just saying, send it back, and they probably won't even send me another guitar. But again, I have the 200 in-house, and it's an odd guitar, but see, you look at the 200, let's look at the 200. They finished the neck. It's satin smooth. This thing felt like a piece of raw lumber that came out of the lumber yard. Not acceptable. So, they really dropped the ball as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, thank you for joining me. I may leave this an open-ended video just to see what happens. If they do want to cooperate and send me another one, then I will just bring the other one on board. As part of the second part of this video. And if I come back later and this was the end, this was the end. So again, it is February the 28th, 2025, a beautiful Friday. Just, it's a hint of spring. We know spring's not really here. We know there's more snow and more cold weather, but hopefully no more polar vortexes. Anyways, IYV IJGAP 300 gets 2 thumbs down. This one at least does. It's a dud. Thank you very much. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. It is the conclusion day. It is March the 17th, 2025. For those of Irish persuasion, St. Patrick's Day. So it's been about 2 weeks since I've had this guitar, and I've played it, and here is my report. It's a bit of a scathing report. It's a bit of an indictment on both IYV and Amazon, and here's why. We're going to go in for some close-ups here. I don't know how much the camera can actually pick up, but this is just really crappy wood. Yeah, this is like very driftwood, you know, this on the neck, this bizarre line. It's a multi-piece neck, and again, this is the kind of wood that you would use if you were going to paint the guitar. Now this is the IYV IJGAP 300. I have the 200, and it has a painted neck and a headstock. So they could have used whatever kind of wood they chose, and it wouldn't matter. But with this, they decided to go a la natural, and my feeling is that when you choose natural, the grade of the wood does make a difference. Now, for those of you who may say, hey, it's a guitar, just play it, don't worry about it, that's true. But if cosmetics didn't matter, they would use crappy wood for all guitars, because I don't think that the aesthetic appearance has any difference whatsoever on the tone of the guitar. So if we were all in agreement that it really doesn't matter, then all guitars could use what I would consider triple F wood choices. But here's where it gets interesting. If you go on Amazon, this guitar is not available anymore. It's sold out really quick. But when this guitar arrived and I looked at it and I didn't like it, I contacted Amazon and I said I would like to replace this guitar. And they said, oh, hold on. What's the problem? And I said, well, it's got cosmetic issues. I don't like the choice of the woods they use. It's just really, it looks like crap. Well, we can't replace it for that. Oh, that's interesting. Where's the asterisk? Where's the caveat? Where's the drop-down menu that specifies that you can't do it for that? And of course there isn't one. So I wasn't very happy with that. So then I contacted IYV and I sent pictures. And Richard is a really nice guy. Couldn't be nicer. But we hit a bit of a bump in the road. Basically, I was hoping that he was going to send me a replacement neck. And he offered to, for the price of $165 with shipping. Whoa, the guitar cost $159. Why would I pay $160 for another neck? And I could never really get him to answer a few questions, and those were, in the ads for both the IJGAP 200 and 300, they show a natural neck, not painted. Quite a few of the people that have been getting the 300s are showing painted necks, and my 200 has a painted neck and a headstock. So I asked him straight up, is this just an inconsistency in the paint department? Were the older ones the non-painted? Are the newer ones all painted? He would never answer my question. Could be a lost in translation issue, I don't know. I give him credit, you know, he's fluent in Vietnamese and he speaks English, or he uses a translating service, I don't know what he does. But he never answered my question, so I didn't know what the deal was. The other thing was, if you could feel, if there was feel-o-vision, this feels like a rough 2x4. The back of the neck did as well. I put some sandpaper on it and smoothed it out. No big deal. I shouldn't have had to do that. And I have to say, too, that of all the IYV guitars, and that's sort of the point that I tried to make to Richard, I've purchased, by my count, 15 IYV guitars. And both this one and the 200 had the worst fret edges of any IYV guitar. IYV's been very good about doing their QC, and their fret ends are always really smooth or close to being really smooth. These were cheese graters. Again, you can take a file, which I did, but I shouldn't have to. So anyways, I'm not pleased with this guitar at all. Playability, it's okay. Again, like I said in the 200 review, I wasn't expecting a $2,000 American-made Acoustasonic, $1,000, $1,200 made in Mexico Fender Acoustasonic, and they've got a new standard coming out, which is MAP price at $600. I don't expect that quality, and you don't get that quality. You don't get the sound. It's a pretty basic guitar. It's got the piezo under the bridge, and then whatever this pickup is. They're not putting the CNC wound anymore logo on the pickups. But if you go, it's sort of like the IRK. Don't expect a Rickenbacker for $160. But if you're open to it just being its own thing, this guitar feels good. Again, the 2 or 3 things that are different between this and the 200 is this has the sound cone, or whatever you want to call this gizmo. The wood goes down in there, and it has a tummy cut, which is nice. This one actually is lighter than the 200. The 200 is a few ounces, maybe 6 ounces heavier. But for its own thing, it's a fun guitar, and you can't beat the price. $160, free shipping with Amazon. This guitar is also sort of weird. It's darker than the other guitars I'm seeing. This has, it's not a binding, but it's just what Fender does. It's just a painted, but you can't even see it on this guitar because this guitar is so dark. So I got sort of an oddball. I don't mind it being darker. But yeah, really disappointed with Amazon. Amazon just is really starting to go brain dead. And I said, look, I ordered this in September, so now I've waited 6 months to get this guitar. Cut me some slack. They gave me $15 back. Wow. Okay. I guess Jeff Bezos won't be able to, $15. But yeah, the quality of wood on this is just really, really not good. I didn't even notice that now. Again, I don't think the camera can pick that up. It can't pick it up if I don't aim it at it. Just, what is that? Looks like another chunk of wood just spliced in. Anyways, that's my story. IYV could have done a better job. They should have done a better job. I would have paid $200 for this guitar if they would have attended to what I consider to be just simple QC issues. I think this guitar never should have left the factory. They should have flagged it and said, yeah, this one's staying in-house. Yeah, there's just weird little stuff. The plastic washer in the tuner broken. Other people have reported that as well. So I'm pretty much done with IYV guitars, not because I got a beef against them. I've pretty much bought every one that they've gotten. Everyone who buys them has to appreciate that the quality is pretty darn good. And they make guitars that no one else is making other than the big manufacturers. I don't think anyone else is doing an acoustic sonic style guitar. So again, that's why I bought it. I'm glad I bought it. I'm probably going to sell this one and try and buy another one if they ever come back in stock. But yeah, so happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. Got another guitar coming today. So we'll be back with that one with reviews and thoughts. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. I have to mention, there's a guy, he's got a video. He did some really cool mods. He took the trim pots that are in the cavity that control the piezo pickup. I believe he said it was volume or gain, and then 2-tone, treble and bass. And he brought them up to the face of the guitar. He brought 2 of them up here, and then he brought a volume so that he could balance his volume out. So I suggested to him that he send his video to IYV. Maybe they'll come up with IJGAP 350 or 400 with a few extra mods on it. Anyways, winter's almost over. Spring is knocking on our door, so that's always a good thing. So thank you once again for joining me for another edition of Let's Unbox Another Guitar, the unofficial name of this channel. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. It is March the 31st, 2025, Monday afternoon. I'm going to upload this. This again is the IYV IJGAP 300 that I bloviated about. I've had it about a month, and I'm still dissatisfied with what I'm dissatisfied with, but quite pleasantly pleased with what I'm pleased with. So I'm not going to go over those details. I'm just going to add a little bit. So I decided that I was going to keep this one for the time being and may end up selling it or keeping it as a spare, I don't know. As I explained earlier, soon after, in fact, right after I bought this, they went out of stock, which is why Amazon claimed that they could not replace it, even though it says return or replace. But they said if it's not in stock, they can't replace it. I said, well, can't you just put a hold on it? No, it has to be in stock. Okay. So I just hit the 30-day window yesterday, so now I can't do anything with this guitar. But in the meantime, they had this guitar on the website saying currently unavailable. We don't know if this will ever come back in stock again. And it was that way for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The end of last week, it showed up and it said in stock. Woo-hoo! So I went ahead and ordered another one, thinking, yeah, okay, I should get this within Amazon's 3 to 5 day superior delivery service. But womp, womp, womp. I got we will send you an email and notify you when we're going to ship it. So I got curious and I contacted Amazon and said, hey, I bought this. I took a screenshot. It says in stock. It doesn't say pre-order, which is what it's back to now. Now it's back into a pre-order. Currently out of stock. We're trying to get more. But when I bought it, it said in stock. So Amazon says to me, well, looks like your delivery date's going to be May the 21st. I'm like, what the F? Yes, children may be present, so I don't want to shock anyone. That's just classic bait and switch. But since I have nothing better to do, I decided to just leave it in there and we'll wait and see. And as I've experienced in the past, sometimes they will just kick the can down the road and then suddenly they'll go, oh, gee, well, we don't have any. So that's part of the reason why I'm keeping this for the time being, is that, as they say, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And if I were to sell this and then find out that I couldn't get another one, and again, the cosmetics on this, for the moment, I can live with it. I sort of futzed it up here. You can see that I took a little bit of the finish off, trying to get rid of that ugly wood. Yes, ugly wood. I ended up taking one more finish off than I wanted to. But, as we know, at the end of the day, this guitar it's meant to be played. And while it's nice to look at them and wax poetically about their aesthetic features, play music, and that's what they're for. And this thing actually plays pretty darn good. Needs some minor adjustments. Still has the factory strings on it. I'm sure that will be an upgrade. And again, I'm just going to say it for the last time. This was not the color they advertised. This is much darker. And while it looks light on the camera, in fact, it's weird on the camera, you can actually even see the little pinstriping. But in person, you can't see the pinstriping. I thought, oh, they forgot to put it online. Yeah, if the guitar looked like this is what it looks like in the picture. But in person, it's really dark. So I don't know how to explain that other than just trick photography. Anyways, I'm going to upload this March 31st, 2025. IYV IJGAP 300. Not as happy as I am with the 200. The 200, in my opinion, was better. And yeah, so anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much. We'll be back with more adventures.